Some women don't win because they're smarter. They don't win because they're louder. They don't win because they're more confident, prettier, or more prepared. They win because situations bend in their favor. You've seen it happen in real time. The promotion goes to her. The relationship deepens for her. People take her seriously faster. Doors open without her knocking aggressively. And the confusing part is that she doesn't look like she's doing that much. She's not performing. She's not auditioning. She's not trying to be impressive in a visible way. And yet, she keeps winning. Most women are taught that winning comes from effort, from being agreeable, from explaining yourself well, from proving that you're competent, kind, flexible, easy to work with. That advice sounds nice. It's also wrong, because winning isn't about what you say you deserve. It's about what your presence quietly communicates before you even open your mouth. And that's what we're breaking down today. Why some women always win socially, professionally, romantically, without chasing, forcing, or overcorrecting. Not motivation. Not boss babe energy. Not confidence affirmations in the mirror. Just the unsexy patterns that actually work. The things nobody teaches you because they're not glamorous. And they don't sound empowering at first, but they change how the world responds to you. Here's the first thing you need to understand. Winning does not start at the moment of interaction. It starts before the interaction ever happens. Most women walk into situations already activated. They're already thinking, how am I being perceived? Am I saying this right? Do they like me? Am I doing too much? Am I doing enough? That internal noise is not invisible. People feel it. And the women who win consistently are not better at talking. They're better at arriving regulated. Their nervous system is calm before the conversation starts. And that calm does something important. It removes urgency from the room. Urgency is what kills leverage. Urgency is what makes you explain when you don't need to. Urgency is what makes you agree too quickly. Urgency is what makes you soften your point before anyone even challenges it. Winning women don't rush to stabilize the moment. They don't try to control how they're being received in real time. They let the moment come to them. And that alone changes the power dynamic. A lot of people mistake this for confidence. It's not confidence. Confidence is a belief. Calm is a state. You can be confident and still frantic. You can believe in yourself and still leak desperation. Calm women don't. And because they don't, people relax around them. They listen more closely. They give them more time. They adjust their behavior without being asked. Not because they're being generous, but because calm signals capacity. It says, this person can handle pressure. This person doesn't need rescuing. This person isn't going to spiral if this doesn't go perfectly. That signal is everything. Before anyone processes your words, they process your pace. How fast you speak. How quickly you respond. How urgently you fill silence. Speed communicates scarcity. When you rush to reply, rush to agree, rush to clarify, you're saying, this matters more to me than it does to you. Winning women don't send that message. They pause not dramatically, not performatively, just enough to show they're not chasing resolution. That pause is expensive. It implies choice. It implies alternatives. It implies that outcomes don't control their internal state. This is why trying to be understood often works against women. Most women think clarity builds connection, so they over-explain. They add context. They justify. They soften. They walk people through their entire thought process, so no one misunderstands them. But explanation is only powerful when it's optional. When explanation feels necessary, it weakens your position. Winning women allow misunderstanding to exist temporarily. They don't panic if they're not immediately validated. They don't rush to correct perceptions. They don't chase alignment in the same breath. They trust that clarity can come later if it needs to. That restraint creates authority. Because people trust women who don't need to manage perception moment by moment. And this is where the real split happens. Some women wait anxiously. They hover. They monitor. They replay conversations in their head. They prepare explanations they were never asked for. Winning women wait cleanly. They don't fidget emotionally while they wait. They don't leak anticipation. They don't pre-compensate. They let time work for them instead of against them. Not magically, mechanically, because systems always move toward stability. Another thing people don't like to hear is that winning women are not doing anything dramatic in public. They're not asserting dominance. They are not standing in their power loudly. They are not trying to command the room. They're contained. And containment is what people read as authority. You can usually spot it within seconds. The way she sits. The way she moves her hands. The way she reacts or doesn't. Nothing spills. She's not tense, but she's not loose either. She's not stiff, but she's not scattered. Everything about her says, I'm not scrambling. And that's why people trust her. This is where a lot of women get confused because they think presence is about appearance. It's not. Presence is about how much of yourself you leak at once. Most women leak everything. They leak emotion. They leak intention. They leak anticipation. They leak disappointment before anything has even gone wrong. Winning women don't. They pace themselves. They reveal information slowly. They let conversations unfold. They don't dump their entire inner world into the room to feel safe. This is especially important socially. Oversharing doesn't make people feel closer to you. It makes them feel responsible for you. And responsibility is not the same thing as respect. Winning women understand timing. They don't share everything the moment they feel it. They don't narrate their uncertainty in real time. They don't explain themselves into exhaustion. They let people earn access to their inner world. Not as a game. As a boundary. This is why they seem mysterious without trying. It's not mystery. It's structure. Information delivered in stages creates gravity. Information dumped all at once creates overwhelm. And overwhelm makes people pull back. Another unsexy truth is that winning women are not relying on willpower. They don't wake up every day and say, "Okay, today I'm going to be calm." They build systems that make calm the default. Their mornings are simpler. Their environments are quieter. Their decisions require less friction. Not because they're privileged, but because they remove chaos wherever they can. They stage their lives. They know that if their morning starts frantic, their energy will arrive frantic. If their space is cluttered, their body will mirror it. If their day feels reactive, their presence will feel reactive. So they eliminate unnecessary decisions. They pick defaults. They reduce options. They make it easy to move through their day without negotiating with themselves constantly. This isn't about being aesthetic. It's about being efficient. A regulated life produces regulated behavior. And regulated behavior reads as power. This is also why disorganization shows up on your face. You can't hide internal clutter forever. If you're always rushing, people feel it. If you're always behind, people sense it. If you're always reacting, people adjust their expectations of you quietly. Winning women don't wait until they're burnt out to reset. They maintain. They clean their space before it becomes a mess. They reset their body before they feel depleted. They recalibrate before things spiral. Not as a dramatic self-care moment, as maintenance. Because maintenance keeps you from having to recover publicly. And public recovery is expensive. Another thing people misunderstand is effortlessness. Effortlessness doesn't mean lazy. It means pre-decided. Winning women don't do more. They do less cleaner. They say no faster. They stop negotiating with themselves. They don't carry unnecessary emotional weight. They don't replay conversations endlessly. They don't prepare arguments they were never asked to make. They don't explain choices they're already comfortable with. That's why they look light. They're not carrying chaos. They're not managing everyone else's comfort. They're not overfunctioning emotionally. And that gives them room to win. Because when you're not busy managing perception, you can actually see opportunities. You can read rooms. You can time conversations. You can move strategically instead of reactively. That's the real advantage. Winning women aren't sharper because they're smarter. They're sharper because their internal environment is quiet. And quiet lets you see. There's one last thing that separates women who always seem to win from everyone else, and it's probably the most uncomfortable one. They are not emotionally loud about their standards. They don't announce boundaries. They don't give speeches. They don't preface everything with explanations. They enforce them quietly. Most women think boundaries are something you say. Winning women understand boundaries are something you do. They don't say, "I don't tolerate disrespect." They leave when it shows up. They don't say, "I need consistency." They stop engaging with inconsistency. They don't argue their worth. They remove access. And because there's no drama attached, people adjust quickly. This is where people get tripped up. They think being calm means being passive. It doesn't. Calm is containment. Calm is control. Calm is deciding without noise. Winning women don't bounce back and forth. They don't waffle. They don't threaten boundaries. They won't keep. Once they decide, their behavior changes, and that's the message. That's why people take them seriously. Not because they're intimidating, but because they're predictable. Predictability builds trust. Trust builds leverage. Another unspoken advantage is that winning women don't need immediate validation. They don't fish. They don't hint. They don't angle for reassurance. They let silence exist. And silence is powerful. Silence forces other people to fill the space. Silence reveals intentions. Silence tells you who is actually invested. When you rush to fill gaps, you remove that information. Winning women wait. They don't chase clarity emotionally. They observe behavior. They know that what people do consistently tells you everything you need to know. So they don't interrogate. They don't push. They don't over-communicate. They watch. And that's how they avoid losing situations early. Another thing that makes women win is that they are not afraid of being misread temporarily. This is huge. Most women panic at the idea of being misunderstood. They rush to clarify. They rush to soften. They rush to explain. Winning women don't. They let people misunderstand them briefly, because they trust that their actions will correct the narrative. They don't try to manage perception in real time. They manage behavior over time. That's why their reputation tends to work in their favor. It's not because they're perfect. It's because they're consistent. Consistency beats charisma. Consistency beats intensity. Consistency beats effort. People forgive mistakes when they trust your baseline. And baseline trust is built through regulation, not performance. This is also why winning women don't over-apologize. They apologize when necessary. They correct when appropriate. They move forward. They don't spiral in guilt. They don't self-flagellate publicly. They don't turn one misstep into a personality flaw. They keep momentum. Momentum matters more than perfection. The last piece is this. Winning women don't live in reaction to other people's lives. They don't compare constantly. They don't monitor everyone else's progress. They don't internalize timelines that aren't theirs. They stay oriented inward, not in a selfish way. In a regulated way. They know what they're working toward. They know what matters to them. They know what season they're in. So they don't rush just because someone else is loud. They don't panic just because someone else is ahead. They don't abandon their strategy because someone else chose differently. They stay in their lane and they build it well. And that's why they win. Not because life is easy. Not because they're chosen. Not because they're lucky, but because they're steady. Steady women accumulate advantages quietly. They build trust. They build credibility. They build options. And options are what winning actually looks like. If this video made you uncomfortable in a "why is this so accurate" way, that's normal. It means you're noticing patterns you can't unsee now. So tell me in the comments what part of this hit the hardest? The containment? The silence? The boundaries? The pace? And if you want to keep going, the next video breaks down the quiet habits that make women look put together and attractive, without trying, because this isn't about aesthetics. It's about alignment. I'll see you there.